The hour that forged a lifetime. The crisp autumn dusk of October 8, 2025, at 6:47 p.m. PKT, bathed our quiet Portland neighborhood in a golden hue as I, Eleanor Grayson, 58, stood frozen on my porch. 13 years ago, that hour stretched into an eternity when my daughter, Tessa, 36, dropped her 3 children, my grandchildren, on my doorstep with a careless smile. "I'll be back in an hour," she'd said, her voice too calm, her eyes dodging mine. I watched her sedan vanish down the street, expecting headlights to pierce the dusk, but night fell and years swallowed her promise. Now she stood in a sterile courtroom, lawyer at her side, finger jabbing at me like I was a criminal. The judge's gaze weighed me, my hand clutching an envelope, heavy, final. "Do they know about this?" he asked. Steady as stone, "Not yet," I replied, my voice a quiet anchor. I hadn't always been this hardened. Once I was a mother swayed by Tessa's wild tales, stitching together her shattered pieces after men discarded her like broken toys. I paid her debts, fed her kids, Liam, 14, Sophie, 12, and little Max, 10, clinging to hope she'd mature. But that hour changed everything. Initially, I clung to naivety, perhaps an accident, a delay, a jail stint. Days bled into weeks. Her apartment stood empty, friends shrugged, and she'd vanished into her selfish spiral again. The children's nightly sobs pierced me. "Where's Mommy?" they'd wail. I spun tales of her working, traveling, too busy to call, shielding them from her abandonment. Yet the truth gnawed. She'd forsaken them. Betrayal seeds had sprouted years before. I'd noted her sidelong glances at her kids, treating them as weights, not joys. That night she mused, joking, not joking, wouldn't life be easier without them? I'd chuckled it off, but the memory lingered. When she didn't return, the wound deepened, though surprise eluded me. I didn't crumble. I acted. I sought a lawyer, filing for guardianship, amassing evidence, her scribbled note on a utility bill, "Ma, just an hour please, I need you." Bank statements showing her neglect, letters to lovers instead of her children. That envelope became my fortress. I raised them as mine, rushing to school plays, bandaging scraped knees, beaming at graduations. Through their tears and triumphs, I was mother, father, guide. In the still nights, as they slept, I honed my patience like a sculptor's chisel, knowing her return would be for leverage, not love. 13 years later, the doorbell shattered my routine. Tessa arrived, polished, a lawyer's shadow beside her. "You kidnapped my children. You kept them from me. I want them back," she recited, her voice a stranger's script. Her lawyer nodded, painting me a villain. But villains steal in shadows. I'd lived in light. The courtroom reeked of aged wood and tension. Liam, Sophie, and Max sat at the back, nearly adults now, their eyes on her, distant, confused, as if she were a ghost of shared blood. Tessa's voice cracked, weaving a victim's tale. "She manipulated them, poisoned them against me," she wept. My turn came. I didn't raise my voice or shed a tear. I placed the envelope before the judge. He unfolded it. Her note, guardianship papers, unpaid support records, her love letters to others. His expression shifted, cold, disbelieving, stunned. "Do they know about this?" he asked softly. "Not yet," I said. I never turned their hearts against her. I left them hope, fragile as it was. This will end it. Tessa unraveled, cursing me, the kids, screaming we'd ruined her. The gavel fell, case dismissed, custody mine. She left empty-handed. That night, the children, my children, gathered at the table. "What happened in court?" Sophie asked. I offered only what they needed. She chose her path. We chose ours. They nodded, understanding beyond words. I tucked the envelope away, its contents a future revelation for when they're ready. 13 years ago, she gifted me an hour. I forged a lifetime. When she tried to reclaim it, I offered silence, patience, and that envelope, my quiet revenge, a blade sharper than fury. No regrets linger.